Beloved Saints, today's 5-minute message of redemptive history is about Deborah, Part 1, from the third book of Redemptive History series, The Unquenchable Lamp of the Covenant. Deborah was the fourth judge out of the 12, and her name means bee or honeybee. Looking at Deborah's life, she was as diligent as a bee and was able to carry out various duties. First, Deborah was a female judge who arose when the rulers ceased in Israel. The Israelites did evil in the sight of the Lord once again after the death of Ehud. As a result, God allowed Jabin, the Canaanite king, to severely oppress Israel for 20 years. The Hebrew word oppression is las, and it is used in cases where a stronger party exploits the weaker party, and thus indicates that the Israelites suffered under exploitation by Sisera. This word, used together with the word severely, meaning intense, shows us that the Israelites gasped for breath each day from their weariness caused by the severe oppression and exploitation. Before Othniel was raised as a judge, the Israelites served Cushan-Rishathaim for 8 years. Before Ehud, the Israelites served and paid tribute to Moab for 18 years. Now, before the emergence of Deborah as judge, the Israelites were oppressed and exploited severely for 20 years under Jabin the Canaanite king. The prolongation of their oppression indicates that idolatry and sins of Israel had increased and that God's discipline became weightier accordingly. Deborah received a command from God to save Israel when the Israelite cities had been devastated and were in a critical state following the long period of persecution and severe oppression at the hands of Jabin. Judges chapter 5 verse 7 says, "The peasantry ceased, they ceased in Israel until I, Deborah, arose. Until I arose, a mother in Israel." A different version says, villagers in Israel would not fight. They held back. The Hebrew word for peasantry is parazon, and this can mean village life, inhabitants of the village, people who live in open country, warriors, or mighty men. So when it says the peasantry ceased, it shows that the villages were desolated. The people deserted the villages because they did not have fortresses and were open to invasion and attack. Furthermore, there was no capable leader to protect the people at this time. In other words, there was no true leader to save the people. While the men did not even have the courage to come forth, a resolute leader arose with the image of a strong mother who sets out to protect her child. Her name was Deborah, and she was called a mother in Israel. At that time, women were held in such low esteem that they were not even included in the census. However, as the sole female judge, Deborah received complete support from the Israelites and awoke the leaders of the time from their senselessness, arming them with faith. She also saved the nation by fulfilling the critical duty of commander-in-chief during the war against King Jabin and Sisera, his army commander. Deborah commanded Barak to lead 10,000 soldiers to fight against King Jabin. On the other hand, Sisera, King Jabin's commander, advanced to war with 900 iron chariots and numerous soldiers. Everyone, Israel's military, consisting of 10,000 men, were truly too feeble to face Jabin's military consisting of 900 iron chariots and all his men. However, Deborah proclaimed, "The God of Israel has commanded, and he will give Sisera into your hands." And Deborah went with Barak to battle. In Judges chapter 4 verses 6 to 7 it says, "Behold, the Lord, the God of Israel, has commanded, Go and march to Mount Tabor and take with you 10,000 men from the sons of Naphtali and from the sons of Zebulun. And I will draw out to you Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his many troops to the river Kishon, and I will give him into your hands. Judges 4:9 states, Certainly I will go with you, said Deborah. Beloved saints, even though peasantry sees, and no matter how bad the conditions may be, once God speaks, a person like Deborah with great faith will appear and will be able to surpass all conditions. Today, let us place our hope in this word and hold fast to God's word, and let us all be victorious. I bless in the name of the Lord.